What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao, and thanks for joining us for the news this afternoon. We begin in Busan, South Korea, where U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping have just wrapped up their talks. Many had wondered whether Taiwan would come up in that discussion, but Trump now says it did not.
Taiwan never came up. Was not discussed, actually. We had a long meeting, as you know, but a lot of things we discussed in great detail. A lot of things we brought to finalization. A lot of finalization.
Trump says he struck a deal with Xi to reduce U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods in exchange for China resuming U.S. soybean purchases, ending export controls on rare earth minerals, and cracking down on the illegal trade of the drug fentanyl. Trump also said he would visit China in April and that Xi would visit Washington at some point after that. Our reporter Cadence Quaranta was there in Busan when the two leaders met, and she brings us this report.
U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping met Thursday morning at an airbase at the edge of this airport in Busan, South Korea. It's a moment the world has been anticipating for weeks. Leaders of the world's two largest economies face to face for the first time since Trump's first term. As the meeting began, Trump said he was hopeful progress would be made in easing what has been a turbulent time for U.S.-China relations.
We will be having some discussions. I think we've already agreed to a lot of things, and we'll agree to some more right now.
And Xi seemed to play down ongoing tensions between the two countries, saying it's normal for two leading economies to have friction sometimes, and expressing hope that they could work together.
And in the face of winds, waves, and challenges, you and I, at the helm of China-U.S. relations, should stay the right course and ensure the steady sailing forward of the giant ship of China-U.S. relations.
Observers are looking at some key points in this meeting, potentially to lower tariffs and work through trade deals. China recently tightened export controls on rare earth minerals, with the U.S. threatening 100% tariffs on Chinese goods. A potential plan to keep social media app TikTok running in the U.S. could also be on the agenda. We're still waiting to hear the details. Now, this meeting is happening in Busan, not Gyeongju, where the APEC summit is happening. It's a relatively quiet location, reportedly chosen for security concerns. Despite that, there were some protesters here outside the airport before the meeting began. Later, they started approaching people welcoming the Chinese president and were taken away by police. Trump and Xi have now left, with the U.S. president heading back to Washington, D.C., and the Chinese president continuing on to attend the APEC forum. But more details are likely to emerge about this meeting throughout Thursday, and all eyes will be on what the impact could be. Justin Wu and Cadence Quaranta in Busan, South Korea for TaiwanPlus.
Here in Taiwan, many people have been concerned about how Taiwan issues could play a part in the two leaders' discussions. Our reporter Chris Gorin has been following the reactions here in Taipei, and he joins us now live from our newsroom. Chris, what are people here saying?
Well, the Trump-Xi meeting has just concluded, and so the reactions are only now starting to emerge. But mere hours ago, lawmakers were grilling Taiwan officials about whether Taiwan might be used as a bargaining chip in the Trump-Xi talks, with Trump perhaps being willing to change the U.S. stance on Taiwan, for example, explicitly opposing Taiwan independence in exchange for Chinese concessions on the economy or on trade. We now know that Trump says that Taiwan never came up in the talks. But Trump had raised some eyebrows here in Taiwan when he made a somewhat ambiguous comment to reporters ahead of the talks, where he simply said, "Taiwan is Taiwan." Now, some may have interpreted that as being dismissive, but today in the legislature, Taiwan's foreign minister Lin Jialong had a more positive take on it.
那我想，我们就用川普的话来自己呈现，就是台湾是台湾，你这个如果习近平要谈什么那是你的事情。可是我觉得美国的政策是很明确而且一致，这也不太该跟我们这个说明，所以我们是对台美关系有信心。
So you can see the foreign minister trying to reassure the public there.
So what about from Taiwan's opposition parties? Has there been any response from them?
Yes, Eric Zhu, the chair of the KMT, Taiwan's main opposition party, did make some comments as the Trump-Xi meeting was ongoing. He said that he hoped the talks would lower tensions between China and the United States and that the meeting would contribute to cross-strait peace. And he added that the most important thing is that cross-strait dialogues and exchanges restart and that Taiwan should not depend too heavily on the United States. Now, many more reactions are likely to pour in as the day goes on, and we'll be monitoring them closely. Eric?
All right, thanks for that update, Chris. That was Chris Gorn reporting from our Taipei newsroom. Meanwhile, the U.S. and South Korea, they have hashed out their own new trade deal, and that will see Washington lower tariffs while Seoul will invest $350 billion in American industries. U.S. President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on South Korea earlier this year, but that will be reduced to 15% following Seoul's cash investment and oil and gas purchases. Later, Trump announced on social media that he will help South Korea build a nuclear-powered submarine. The U.S. will share highly guarded military technology to help with construction. This technology was not shared in a similar deal with the UK and Australia. The announcement comes after North Korea unveiled plans to build its first ever nuclear-powered submarine earlier this year. Taiwan has wrapped up an anti-dumping probe into certain Chinese imports, finding that China's practices harmed Taiwanese industries. The Economy Ministry's investigation looked at flat-rolled steel and beer products imported from China between 2021 and June of 2025. It says these imports rose significantly over that period, while domestic prices for those products continue to fall. This comes amid a push by industry advocates here in Taiwan to crack down on Chinese imports. The findings will next be sent to the Finance Ministry to determine whether anti-dumping duties should be imposed. The government here has confirmed that chip giant TSMC can begin construction of its newest plants in central Taiwan. The Central Taiwan Science Park says TSMC can begin laying the foundation for 4 new plants in early November. The facilities will produce chips using the semiconductor giant's latest 1.4 nanometer process. Mass production is expected in late 2028, and the company estimates initial revenues at over $160 billion. The site is expected to be the world's largest AI chip hub with a $46 billion initial investment. Chipmaker Nvidia has become the first public company worth more than $5 trillion. The company's shares surged more than 3% on Wednesday. That's after it announced a new AI partnership with the U.S. Energy Department and potential deals with Korean firms Samsung and Hyundai. The new record high comes less than 4 months after Nvidia crossed the $4 trillion mark on July 7th. Taipei Mayor Zhang Wan-an also revealed on Wednesday that the company has selected its preferred plots in the city's Beito Siling Tech Park as the site of its new Taiwan headquarters. With only a handful of formal diplomatic allies, Taiwan has had to work hard developing unofficial ties with other friendly countries. It has also found ways to foster connections with other places that are fighting for sovereignty. One of those places is Somaliland, located in the Horn of Africa. Taiwan and Somaliland have been strengthening their relations since establishing representative offices in each other's capitals in 2020. To learn more about how those ties have developed, connected reporter Shubham Paul spoke with Mahmoud Adan Jamal Galal, Somaliland's representative in Taiwan.
Taiwan and Somaliland have built a unique partnership since 2020 with initiatives like the Joint Energy and Mineral Resources Cooperation Working Group and Taiwan's investments in Somaliland's agriculture and technology sectors. How are these economic collaborations strengthening Somaliland's emerging economy, and what specific benefits do they bring to both nations?
I believe that the relationship, the economic relationship between Taiwan and Somaliland is now relatively young. We are at the early stages, but it shows a lot of promise. We believe that in the medium and long term, both nations will benefit greatly from this relationship. Somaliland has a lot to offer in terms of its strategic location. We are setting ourselves up as a commercial and logistics hub in the region, in the Horn of Africa. So not only Somaliland and Ethiopia, but the whole region, with the potential of 300 to 400, maybe even 500 million, access to 500 million Africans. And so we have the Berbera port. We're building new infrastructure with international partners. And we have adjacent to that the free zone, which will be the commercial and logistics hub, the premier in the region, in the Horn of Africa. So we believe that we have that to offer. Taiwan has a very advanced economy, and we are seeking to replicate and learn from Taiwan, have knowledge transfer, and also investment. And it's our policy, obviously, to welcome everybody, but Taiwan is one of those nations that we're looking to give preferential treatment as far as trade is concerned. So we have already a number of significant investments, such as CPC Taiwan, that are involved in the hydrocarbon sector. We envisage drilling will be commencing sometime early next year. And we have other investments. I continue to talk to Taiwanese firms and entrepreneurs. So this relationship is one that is of economic benefit to both Taiwan and Somaliland.
So how is Somaliland leveraging these partnerships to position itself as a trade hub? And what role does Taiwan's expertise play in developing your mineral and energy sectors?
Taiwanese expertise is essential for us. One of the most advanced economies in the world in terms of technology, AI. And so we want to tap into this, and we're working very close with Taiwan on a number of areas, not only oil exploration, but we're working in banking. Recently, I had a delegation from the Central Bank of Somaliland, the governor of the bank and his special advisor. We're looking at financing, we're looking at technology, artificial intelligence, and I believe we can make a huge amount of progress in these areas, and as well as other sectors.
That was Somaliland's representative to Taiwan, Mahmoud Adan Jamagalal. To watch the full episode of Connected, head over to the TaiwanPlus website or YouTube channel. Taiwan's judo athletes have brought home 3 more medals at the 2025 Asian Youth Games in Bahrain. Wang Naixuan claimed the top spot in the men's 60-kilogram category after defeating his opponent from Uzbekistan. Meanwhile, Bao Ruiyun and Sen Shaoyun secured bronze in the women's 40 and 44-kilogram categories. Taiwan now has 7 gold, 9 silver, and 20 bronze medals. And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, let's end with more from the Trump-Xi meeting in Busan. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for sharing our passion for food and Taiwan. Veggie Island explores the vibrant world of plant-based cuisine.
Wow, this is amazing.
While Taiwan on the Rocks uncovers the stories and craftsmanship behind every sip.
Have you ever tried Taiwanese beer?
Are you ready to taste even more of Taiwan?